Hi, shalom friends. How good is your memory? Our memory, collectively speaking, is fantastic. We remember something that happened 3,335 years ago. Do you remember you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm sure you do. We left Egypt. And every year we remember that. And we not only remember that, we relive it. And we clean the house and we do all kinds of wonderful activities to prepare ourselves for the experience and to actually relive our remembrance. So in a sense, it's not even a remembrance, it's actually reliving it. So what do you think would be the symbol of Passover, or in Hebrew, Pesach? Well, you can see it on any of the stamps and motifs, the matzah. Usually they show you like a round cracker, it's unleavened, it's thin, and of course that is a major part of Pesach. So why do we eat the matzah? Why is it so important? How does this bring out and convey the ideas and energy of Pesach? So we're actually going to talk about that the night of Passover, but we're going to say, why do we eat this matzah? We eat this matzah, you know why? Because we had no time to bake. When God said, leave Egypt, we just had some flour and water. We threw it together, we ran out, and we actually had no time. Those of you that bake your own bread know that, especially if you put in yeast, but even if you don't put in yeast, just leaving the flour and the water and the dough, it needs time to rise. But we didn't have any time. We're in a rush, and in a haste, we ran out of Egypt, and therefore we eat the matzah. Of course, this is the way it happened, as it is recorded. My question to you is, 1 second. Don't you remember your mother or your father or your teacher telling you, slow down, be deliberate? The famous adage, haste makes waste. I thought we're supposed to take life, step by step. If you run too fast and if you jump, you fall. And yet, we have this tremendous holiday. And what we seem to be celebrating is quickness, alacrity, running. As a matter of fact, those of you that know how matzah is made, we'll start off with a little bit of a trick question. True or false? Jews do not eat bread on Passover. Okay, I could hear your response. Of course not, Rabbi. Well, you're not right. It was a trick question. The translation of bread is flour and water that's baked. Well, what do you think matzah is? We eat bread, but it's not the leavened bread. It's not bread that has yeast or other ingredients. It's not bread where the flour is allowed to rise. It's actually flour and water and baked immediately. According to our tradition, it has to be baked between 18 and 20 minutes. Usually it's 18 minutes. It's from the moment the flour and the water touch, it is kneaded and pounded and rolled out and baked all within 18 minutes. And we call that matzah. What happens if you're in the middle of the process, 12 minutes had passed, and your cell phone rings, and you glance at it, and it's an important person, and you figure, what's the difference? A 2-minute phone call. So you pick up, you talk 2 minutes, you just now made a deal for millions, and you look at the clock, and it's not going to be 19 minutes since the flour and the water touched. You know what you have to do with this dough? It has to be discarded. It's not ritually permissible anymore. It is chametz, it's leavened. 1 minute? Isn't that interesting? A dough, it's going to be made into bread, and 1 minute makes the difference between kosher, not kosher, suitable, unsuitable, matzah versus chametz. Now, before we make fun of 1 or 2 minutes, anyone that's a first responder will tell you the difference between life and death is often less than a minute. And when the ambulance crew shows up and they say, if we only had an extra minute, we could have saved his life. if there's someone who's saving from fire, whatever it might be. I don't have to make it dramatic. Minutes count. So we have to do things quickly. But then we all know when you do things too quickly, you get angry, you respond much too quickly. And if you only had 20 minutes to calm yourself down, you wouldn't be in trouble. As a matter of fact, today, people that have impulse buying, especially online, they're given very good advice. Put it in the cart, but don't conclude it. Come back a day later, look at the cart, and now you could say, do I really need it? So my friends, this is what we're dealing with. We have a holiday, and we have a food which seems to imply do things quickly, very quickly, don't allow an opportunity to be wasted. And at the same time, we are told, do things, be deliberate, be considerate, step by step is the way to go. And I think the answer is quite obvious after just a moment reflection. When it comes to things of goodness and holiness, jump. When it comes to things of indulgence or pleasure, or just even neutral, think. Do I really need this? Do I really want this? What is the best way for me to achieve this goal? But when an opportunity for spiritual growth arises, don't deliberate. Don't say to yourself, well, I'm in the mood of doing a mitzvah, but I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to it in a half hour. You see a poor person, give him the charity. You see a holy book, open it. You could make a phone call to your parents, do it. What's the hesitation? And this fits in with the bigger theme of Pesach. We all know in English it's called Passover, based on the biblical account, how God passed over the house of the Hebrew, did not kill the firstborn, but he singled out the Egyptians. But more correctly, it's not Passover, but jump over, leap over. And God is telling us a very, very important teaching. There are times for you where you could take step by step. So when you go to work and you want to be advanced in your profession, don't jump. Take step by step, you'll get there. Steady progress. When it comes to when it comes to going from one level to another level, how do you get out of the mud? Jump. Don't walk. Jump out of the mud. Jump out of Mitzrayim. Jump out of your Egypt. Jump out of your limitations. You can do it. And that's the wonderful festival of Passover. It's the time of the year when the opportunity not to take step by step, but to literally leap out, to jump, to progress in a magnificent way, and to do it quickly with enthusiasm. This is this holiday. My friends, I wish you all a happy and a kosher Passover, and I wish all of us that we jump out of this miserable exile, the darkness that we're all in, and may we all leap into a world of beauty, of holiness, and of Kedusha with the coming of Mashiach. Amen.